Now, today's webinar is one for one reason. That is, we're talking mental health matters. Real talk, no judgment, just tools and truths that can actually help. It's about time we break the silence and learn the stigma and remind every young person here that your mind matters as much as your grades, your goals, and your hustle. We'll have honest conversations with our team of experts from Turning Point Mental Health Services, practical tips, and space just to be human. Now, listen, get comfortable, get warm, it's cold. Send a reminder to your friend and a family member to join because kusazoshuba. First up, we have our chief clinical psychologist, CEO, and director of Turning Point Mental Health Services, Mrs. Mbali Mtembu Mensa, with an opening and welcome. Over to you, Chief.
Thank you, Swazi, our practice manager and communications officer. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which part of the continent you are joining us from today. Welcome to our first live youth webinar. My name, just like Swazi has mentioned, is Mrs. Mbali Mtembu Mensa. I am the Chief Clinical Psychologist as well as the CEO and Director of Turning Point Mental Health Services, a company which is pioneering a multidisciplinary approach in dealing with psychological and mental health. We have a team of psychologists that are registered with the Health Professions Council of South Africa in different categories such as clinical psychology, educational psychology, and counseling psychology, as well as registered counselors. I lead this team of experts under a group practice which is registered with the Board of Healthcare Funders Southern Africa. And our group practice name is Mrs. Mtembu, MAW, and Psychology Associates. It is an absolute honor to see many familiar faces and new faces gathered in this platform. Before we begin, I would like to extend a special welcome to our amazing team at Turning Point Mental Health Services, from our Chief Operations Officer, General Manager, the rest of the admin personnel, all the officers, and my fellow colleague practitioners. We also have our guest speakers joining us tonight. Sis Nomalizwi, an educator, businesswoman, and mentor for the upcoming future leaders. Sis Zagiti, our esteemed social worker in private practice located in Richards Bay, as well as Sis Naledi, who is a talented poet, making an impact in soothing and calming our generation. I also want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to be here. Your presence truly makes this event a special one. The goal of today's event is to celebrate and commemorate our youth, especially in this month of June, as the youth contributed to shaping the trajectory of our South African schooling system. As Turning Point Mental Health Services is launching this first youth webinar, we are so thrilled to have you part of this journey with us. Now, why is this event so important in our hearts as TP? This is because the stage of youth is a crucial one. This webinar is actually zooming in on the age group between the ages of 13 years to 22 years. Am I suggesting that you should log out if you are above this age? No, ma'am. And to you, say a definite big no. We would love for you to stay and learn some crucial facts that no one teaches us as we grow and form relationships. I don't know about you, but as for me, I was definitely not given a manual on how to navigate these stages. So, this platform is a place where we can help each other improve our understanding, especially of the young people around us. So, whilst a young person has developed and has reached all the necessary developmental milestones, such as crawling, walking, gaining speech during their childhood or primary school going ages, the young person is neither a child nor an adult yet. So you can understand the mismatch that might happen at this stage. This is because they are still developing quite significantly. Psychologically, this stage isn't just about transitioning between childhood into adulthood, but it is an important rewiring of how a young person sees themselves, sees others in relation to their world, and in turn relates to them, whilst, of course, processing their own emotions. To understand the important developmental needs that a young person has to go through, would you allow our team of experts to expand on the areas of human development that are constantly being rewired, continuously undergoing a major construction at this stage? Basically, there are 5 areas of development which needs to take place at this stage, comprising of, if you can please turn to the next slide, the neurobiological development, which I will address deeply during our next webinar on the 26th of June. So save the date. You better not miss that one. The team of experts will cover the areas in the cognitive development, the emotional development, as well as the psychosocial development. So these are the 4 areas, as I have mentioned: the cognitive development, the emotional development, and the psychosocial development of the young person. Of course, you might have noticed that young people display unpredictable moods, right? And that is because the brain's frontal lobe is still developing, and it only reaches maturity in the person's mid 20s. This is the part of the brain that I like to call the brake pedals of the car, which means that this part of the brain is the one responsible for reasoning, weighing pros and cons, and it forms part of the ability to control our impulses. So, this is why young people may struggle with emotional regulation and actually act before thinking about consequences. So, as adults, that is why young people still need us. They need our patience, they need our guidance and supervision. All the parents, all the caregivers, and all the teachers, we need to provide a supportive and non judgmental environment which aims to gain their trust so that they can share their experiences with us and so that we can help them thrive, even if they make mistakes. Of course, this calls for an adult who will also develop their own skills of emotional attunement, and this is a process whereby you have the ability to actually recognize, understand, and respond appropriately to another person's emotional state. But you'll see that a lot of the times, as adults, we have a lot of responsibilities, stressors that we are dealing with. And therefore, this results in strained family relationships, which therefore render the young person actually vulnerable. to relying on their peers for support. Whether this support is positive or negative, but they are left to fend for themselves. With that being said, my colleagues will help delve into the deep mysteries and help you with the necessary tools and skills to build healthy young minds in order to create supportive environments where our young people will feel understood, heard, and supported, and thus assisting them to develop a solid identity, a sound sense of self, and be able to build stable relationships. With that being said, thank you for lending us your ears tonight. I hope you will enjoy the rest of the webinar. I will now hand over to you, Ms. Swazi.
Thank you so much, Chief. Guys, I'm sure now you have an idea of what is about to go down. So, again, if there is someone that you know that needs to be part of this, dial, WhatsApp, tell them, join. It is free, guys. It is free. Thank you again, Chief. And I said, yes, it's a webinar and for the youth, so there's no need to be serious. Even I myself, I'm trying to loosen up. I'm not even trying, I have loosened up. So loosen up a little bit, and I'll now hand over to my colleague, Samgelo Mpungese, for an icebreaker. Samgelo, come up.
Thank you very much, Swazi. Thank you very much. And a big hellos to everyone who's attending the youth webinar. Thank you for taking your time and for lending us your ear to hear what we want to say to you. Guys, since it's a youth month, the youth must always be active. So, okay, let's start here. My name is Samkelo Mpungos, as Swazi had said. So, as I was saying that since it's a youth webinar, so youth is the people that are always active by all the time. So, I have just one request so that guys, we have to do just one or two exercise so that we can be active to motivate our minds so that can be able to listen properly and attentively to what our psychologists have to say. But before we start the exercises, can you guys that are attending our youth webinar to please turn on your mic so that I can be able to hear in terms of you are participating in terms of what I am about to say to you. Before we start, I just want to say thank you very much who's attending the youth webinar. Could you please clap your hands that you are beautiful. Thank you very much, everyone. Our first exercise that I'd like us to do tonight would be the emoji check-in. That is whereby you reply by a single emoji that best describe your current energy or mood that you are feeling tonight. It's either you're feeling calmed, overwhelmed, feeling positive, low energy, or excited. Then you're gonna use the correct emoji on the chat box. The chat box is located, for those that are using the laptops, the chat box is located at the top of their screens. And for those that are using cell phones, the chat box will be at the bottom of their screens. So you just copy and paste the emoji that is describing your feelings tonight. And also, please tell us from which city are you joining us from on the chat box section. I will just give us just 1 minute just to do this exercise for everyone.
Enaitwayo Michael Notenubu.
Okay, guys, you can now switch off your mic. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your responses. Thank you for also taking your time. Um, let's go to another exercise that I have for us today. I see the responses are still coming up. Thank you, everyone. Our next exercise that I have for today would be the rose, dawn, and the bud. You share a little about your recent experience and your hopes. So, a rose is whereby you share a recent success that has occurred to you or something positive that you have. Or and a dawn reflects to something that is a challenge to you or stressful that is causing you stress. And then you're gonna use a bud to also indicate that there is something that you're hoping for, uh, that needs to that you're looking up to achieve it in the near future. And then for this exercise, I will give us the 2 minutes for this exercise. I hope that my time will is still enough. Just also continue using the chat box to do this exercise. Your request will be much appreciated regarding this. Please, please use also the chat box to respond. The exercise is simple. You use a rose to share something that is positive that has occurred to you. You use a dawn to indicate something stressful or negative that is challenging you. And also you use a bud for something that you are looking forward to or to achieve in the near future. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys, for their replies. I see they are still also coming. I hope for those that are having a rose, which meaning something positive, guys, keep on um, feeling that way. And for those that have a thorn, which is a negative thing and is something that is stressing, I pray that God will be with you and you overcome that challenge or that stressor. And also to those that replied with a bad, I pray that God answers your wishes and listens to your prayers. I'll now hand over back to Swazi, our MC for the youth webinar. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much, Samgelo. Wow. Okay, that was a good exercise because it gave us time to reflect on how we are feeling. Most of the times, we dismiss how we are feeling. A simple, how are you? Ask yourself every day. It's a good thing. Now, let's get a little serious and dive in to having a real talk about challenges faced by the youth. Let's welcome a registered counselor at Turning Point Mental Health Services, Azola Lutiti. Thank you.
Thank you, Swazi. And a special greetings to Turning Point Mental Health team and our esteemed guests. Hello, hi, you. Uh, Swazi just told me to listen up. So, yeah, let us all listen up and listen. So, as she just said, I'm here to address the challenges that are faced by youth. Can I have the next slide? So, all of us as human, we are expected to navigate life and make it worth living. We can all attest to the fact that our teenage and young adulthood years have a lot happening. And for us to do that successfully, we need to balance the physical and cognitive developmental milestones with societal pressures. Those pressures, they come with school, unemployment, family, relationships, and a whole lot of other things that you can think of. Next slide, please. So before we go straight into the challenges that we are facing, I want us to look into identity formation of a person. Many explain this concept in different ways, but I want us to zoom into Eric Erickson's psychosocial stages. So, according to Eric, adolescence is the stage where children must start making decisions regarding their vocational and personal future. They also have to develop a sense of who they are and where they belong. So, for those who develop these um, senses, they develop a solid sense of identity. And those who do not, unfortunately, they may develop role confusion. What is role confusion? It is when one does not know or is not sure who they are, where they belong, or what they want. Next slide, please. In the process of discovering themselves, teenagers and young adults, not isolated from the fast paced and hyper connected life that we are living, that contributes to or leads to the challenges they face across the areas of life. A stats from the World Health Organization shows that 1 in 7 adolescents aged between 10 and 19 years, they experience mental health conditions globally, with anxiety and depression leading the burden. Can you imagine that? It is a serious mental health crisis. Next slide, please. With all that being said, experiencing role confusion may lead to the internal conflict process, where the search for belonging becomes somewhat difficult. Navigating peer pressure, figuring out self worth, establishing boundaries, beliefs, values, creating social circles, all of that becoming a nightmare. Not being sure of who you are, or maybe you are doing the right or wrong decisions, not sure of what you are doing, and not being sure of uh, the choices that you are making at that age. For example, one young person who's maybe doing grade 8 might be in a pressure of choosing at that stage the career that they want to partake in. And it starts with choosing your subjects and actually going into the career from high school to tertiary. When you are experiencing role confusion, that becomes a nightmare. Next slide, please. While still struggling with self, there's a system that we live in, and we cannot isolate ourselves in that system. It needs to be navigated, and it's very complex. It has people, institutions that directly interact with us or indirectly affecting us. It presents safety issues, that is exposure to violence, be it community violence, gender-based violence and femicide, gang activities, you name it. It presents chronic trauma and intergenerational trauma from the scars of poverty, HIV and AIDS, and COVID-19 pandemics. And it also poses the secondary trauma that we absorb from our caregivers or parents who themselves are battling with stress and burnout. All of this causes young people to be in the state of hypervigilance, altering their brain development, affecting impulse control and emotional regulation. Next slide, please. Not having a solid sense of belonging also make you vulnerable to the pressure caused by social media. I mean, we can never talk about challenges facing young people and isolate social media. The influence and constant exposure to the content and idealized lives that we see, all of that makes us believe that it is how life should be. This creates body image issues to young people, which may lead to serious eating disorders. It creates fear of missing out. You call it FOMO. It creates feeling of inadequacy or not being enough. And all of these may lead to low self-esteem and confidence issues. Next slide, please. I can never leave behind I can never leave behind the physical and social geography of South Africa that heavily contributes to teenagers leaving Perth. While some of young people have a privilege to easy access to quality education, healthcare, digital world, better living, others are struggling with the reality of child-headed households due to historical health crisis. They need to take care of their siblings, and some of them taking care of their own children because of teenage pregnancy. In townships and in deep rural areas, they face a massive transport costs, digital exclusions due to expensive internet data. They struggle accessing good schools and are served in the under-resourced healthcare facilities. Can you imagine the pressure that comes with that? With all that being said and explained, can I have the next slide, please? The challenges of where there is continuous environment stress, symptoms show or manifest themselves in different ways for different people. Some may experience externalizing behavior, where we observe clinical symptoms showing in a form of behavior. Making an example of that, where you would see trauma manifesting itself as conduct issues. What are conduct issues or defiance? It's when you see a person changing to be a rebel, as we might call them, or having bad behaviors. Taking maybe a child that is harshly bullied at school, that child might change the behavior at home. At that point, you wouldn't even know what is happening, but you are seeing your child back chatting, having anger issues, and all that. And you might think the child is changing to be a rebel, but it's just psychological problems manifesting themselves in a behavioral way. Some experience somatic distress, which is bodily or physical distress. This is when a psychological problem manifests itself as a physical or medical symptom. For example, we are having an emotional pain, and that becomes a physical pain. And in that, I have seen a person, young person, at the ages of 15, 16, being admitted in a hospital, not able to walk. And the doctors did all they could to try and find out what was the problem. And finally, they just got that it was just deep seated severe anxiety manifesting itself in a physical way. Some experience learned helplessness, voluntarily choosing not to change circumstances, even when you have the ability to do so. This one is very serious, and some people take it light. It happens when someone constantly facing negative situations and you just decide, I'm not going to do anything about this. For example, you believe that you're going to fail and you choose not to study. That's not going to work for you. You believe that you do not have luck and seeing the high rate of unemployment and then decide that I'm not going to further my studies. I'm fine with my grade 12. That's not the way to go. But it happens, it's reality. Some, they use unhelpful coping mechanisms to deal with situations. Using those, um, meaning the, the coping mechanisms that you are using may be short term and not really helpful. They may lead you to even high risk behaviors. For example, when you use drugs to numb the situation that you are going through, or maybe you will go and you decide to go and drink alcohol. That may lead to addiction. It may lead to you being involved in violence or even unprotected sexual activities that may take you straight to teenage pregnancy or infections. And now you are in deep trouble. Next slide, please. With all that I have just presented, I'm concluding like this. The moment you find out and realize, those are the terms young people use these days, finding out and realizing that there's a problem with you. Speak out, reach out for help. And as a young person, always remember to be kind to everyone because we are all going through a lot. There's a chance for everyone, and it's time for you to speak out. Make a decision that will take you to your next turning point. Thank you, and I'm taking this back to Swazi.
Wow. This is the moments where I need a round of applause. Clock it. See youth again. We the youth. Clock it. Exactly. Sibonge kakhulu, Sis Azola. I think, guys, to everyone, I think this has given you a view of how this webinar is about to get. Um, I learned a lot. Some of the things that I didn't even know. We very much dismay stress, and today I found out that the stress that you have can also contribute to your physical health. Guys, speak up. Ungavumi ukuthula. Speak up. Okay, without wasting any more time, because we are now a little bit behind, I hope everyone is doing well. And as said, without wasting time, may I welcome our educational psychologist at Turning Point Mental Health Services, Mr. Mzamo Zondi, who will be tackling the educational challenges and pressures. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Swazi. And thank you so much to Azola for a very insightful session. Thank you. And all protocol observed in our family here at Turning Point. And welcome to all the guests that have joined us all over. I hear on even on YouTube, there are so many of us that have joined. Thank you so much for joining us. Right. There are so many pressures and challenges, right? But just for this section, I would just like us to look at just these three things. One, because we are expected to perform at school or in different ways, we can fall into a trap of having logical mistakes and thinking in an incorrect way because of performance anxiety. We'll look at that. And then we'll also just do a quick overview of the support that's available for students that we refer to as students with neurodivergent challenges. And then lastly, we'll talk about the importance of seeking help. Next one, James. Right. The first pitfall or a mistake or a logical mistake that can happen when you have a pressure to perform. You can have what I call fortune telling, right? In fortune telling, we all know fortune tellers, Zangoma, or people who can tell the future, right? In fortune telling, it's when the anxiety will tell you that you are a failure and you have already failed even before attempting a task, be it a project, be it a test, or be it an exam. And it will not only tell you that you have failed, but it will also make you feel like you have already failed before even attempting that test or that exam. You just feel like you have already failed, right? And yes, that's just your mind or your brain lying to you or playing games with you, right? But if you listen to that thought or that feeling of having failed, definitely you will fail. But what we are saying is use what we call reality testing. Just do a reality check. In a real world, future is not necessarily known, but we can do something to change the trajectory of our future. So with this one, I just say you still have some time to fix a few things, those small changes, do them. Don't accept that voice of saying you have failed. And then if you do those small things, your trajectory might change from a negative one to a positive one. Thank you, James. Right. The next pitfall that you can feel when you need to perform, right? You can feel like it's too much. Kuning, I don't even know where to begin. This is too, that is too. It's even worse when you're dating. Nomjolo ngala. So it's just all feeling like it's too much, right? And I used to say, if this feeling gets you around 9 or 10 in the evening and you are in your room, your bed is likely to call it, come and sleep. You will see in the morning and you avoid doing what you need to do. And in the morning, you wake up feeling guilty because the deadlines have not changed. You still need to do the work and it's just piling up even more. So I'm sure we are familiar with the proverb that says, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is one bite at a time. One bite at a time. If it feels like it's all too much, you've got physics, you've got maths, you've got life sciences, yes, you've got umjolo on the side, just choose one. Hopefully you will not choose umjolo, just choose one, physics. If physics feels like it's all too much, choose a section. And when you choose a section, allocate a specific time for that section. The hope is when you are done with that section, you will feel a sense of accomplishment. Oh, yes, I've done it. I've done it. And then you take a break and then you move on to the next thing. That's why we have said here, small steps equal to big wins. The next one, James. Right. This is a very important one for our young people and even to us as adults, especially if you're starting a new job or you've been elevated to a higher position where you feel like I, it seems I'm in a wrong place. I don't belong here. I don't have what it takes to make it in this level that I'm in now, be it a grade or be it a new job or whatever. You feel like you're lost. Um, and in Zulu, we can even go as far as saying, "Udumo, amsazi ukuthi yini edumayo noma uduma imoto noma uduma ipotiyana, but kuyaduma khona." And we are confused, right? You feel like you are an imposter. You are like you are faking it. And it can even get worse when people around you are coping and managing. It seems like you are the only one who is lost. So you can't feel like I'm an imposter here, right? But the truth is, you have earned your spot. You've earned to be where you are. You passed that previous grade. You passed that previous level. If it was an interview, you passed that interview. Yes, hopefully you did not use a brown envelope. Yes, to get a position, or you did not cheat, right? So we are saying, because you have earned your spot, it's just a matter of you adjusting a few things to make sure that you are reaching the expected level in this new level or position that you are in. So things like managing your time, sacrificing a few things so that you meet the demands of the current position. Thank you. The next one, James. Yeah, this one happens to almost all of us, where we overestimate the time we still have left to do the project, to do the report. Remember, yes, and we overestimate the time we have, and we think, no, I still have time, and you procrastinate, and then the time runs out, and then you end up panicking, right? And you end up feeling, I'm not ready. I don't know what to do. It's all too much, right? But we are just saying, hey, prepare. They even go as far as saying failing to plan is planning to fail. So start now, make those adjustments, make those plans, be it study timetable, but start preparing to make sure that you're not experiencing blackouts in the exams or things like that. With this one, I would even go as far as saying, yes, sometimes you might find yourself being tempted to steal some time from sleeping. Yes, but as much as that may be the case, yes, do get enough sleep. But please do not sleep like you are competing with the dead and hope to make it in the world of the living. Next one, James. Right. I think the last slide, no, not last, the last, second but last. Sometimes you have done all that I've said that you can try and do, but sometimes just your brain is failing you, right? If that is the case, A new message I want to bring across is, yes, it feels like my brain is failing me, but it could be just that my brain works differently from other brains, but with the right support in this brain of mine that works differently, I can succeed. These are some of the ways that you can be assisted in a school context. Concessions, accommodations, extra time. You can get extra time. You can get somebody who can read for you. You can get somebody who can write for you. You prompter. You can write in different venues. You can even get spelling concessions, and you can also use medication. But for these things, you need to come to us. We will assess you, give a report that will speak on your behalf. Let me stop there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mzamo. Hey, go back and say, go to kudumu potiyane. That means you don't know where your mind is. Thank you so much, Mr. Mzamo. To all the viewers, we are noting your hands. We are noting the questions for now. The chat box is open. If you have any questions, they will be answered towards the end. And the hands as well, your questions will be attended to towards the end. For now, just listen, grab as much information as you can, because this is an everyday lesson that we need to carry out, even to tell other people as well. Okay, moving on. Let me just say, some voices rush you, but Naledi Ramara's voice holds you. She writes the kind of poetry that feels like a deep breath and it stays with you. This piece is pre recorded for better sound quality, but she's still also with us this evening. Let's welcome Naledi Ramara. Thank you.
There's an unwanted guest in my house and his name is Anxiety. He's taken over my space. See, every time I try to pick up my pen, he appears again and again, and so I find myself digging up the words that I had buried deep inside of me. I miss the old me. I used to smile without thinking and laugh without breaking inside. I miss the version of me who didn't have to try so hard to seem okay.
Please give us a moment. While we wait, may I please ask Uguti, try not to share your screen. Try not to fiddle over here with the settings, because we need one person to be sharing the main screen with us. Okay, while we wait, again, our technical team, Kenzeka, it happens. Don't judge, please now. And we didn't procrastinate. I heard, yeah, well, I'm one person who procrastinates, but on this end, technical issues do happen. So please be patient with us. I'm one person, let me just share, I'm one person who procrastinates a lot. And at the end, I panic. Have I done something about it? Yes. What can you do? Simple thing, a timetable, a schedule. Schedule your day. Even umdala, I'm old as I am, but I still struggle sometimes with the planning. So planning is the start of it all. Okay, let us not waste any time. We are not closing this one. You'll heard.
So I have mentioned them before. So it's the breathing and relaxation techniques. That helps a lot when we're going through a lot of stress. So you need to just take a breathing activity. You breathe in, you breathe out, and then you pause. As you pause, you allow yourself or you allow yourself to regulate those emotions. And then also journaling your thoughts, as I've mentioned before. Those are the also the right coping strategies. When you're going through stress, when you're overwhelmed as well, you take a journal. You don't feel like talking. You don't have the energy for talking, or you don't know how to best express whatever that you're feeling at that time. Grab your journal. Have a journal. It is very, very important to have a journal. Having a journal or a diary, you don't have to be 12 years old. It's for everybody. It helps. It's a mirror. I always look at it as a mirror. It helps for you to reflect and see and understand what exactly is happening emotionally or internally, so that you get to identify issues. As you identify, you'll be able to identify issues, and then you'll be able to have possible solutions. And if you struggle with having possible solutions, that's when you reach out for help. It is important to reach out for help just to get a different perspective, just to assist you with whatever that you are going through at that time. And also another a healthy coping strategy will be positive self-talk, something that we do not often do. So it is very important to talk to yourself positively. We are youth, we're growing, we make a lot of mistakes, and you're still gonna make mistakes as well. But you don't have to bash yourself. You need to be kind to self, so that you allow yourself to make mistakes and say, okay, what is it that I'm taking away from this mistake that I've done? What is the lesson behind this? Instead of bashing yourself. So talk good onto yourself, so that you'll be able to learn, and evolve as a human being. And another a coping strategy, a good coping strategy, is seeking professional help or seeking support from trusted people. It can't be that, but in most cases, some people don't have people that they trust. It's okay. Don't fear. That is why we have healthcare professions. You just call, you reach out, you call, you make an appointment, we sit down, and then we talk about whatever presenting issues that we might have. And therapy is a space whereby there's no judgment today. It is confidential with utmost professionalism, also considering your emotion and listening to you as well. So what does therapy do for you? Or how, or yeah, what is therapy do for you? So in therapy, we see you, we hear you, we understand you in therapy. We don't judge. So we allow you, we give you space to explore whatever that you are feeling. No problem is small. Whatever that you feel like you're struggling with, therapy is for that. You to be forthcoming with us. You come, we guide you through. We don't tell you what to do. We guide you through difficulties in life. All of that is part and parcel of emotional and psychological self-care. And then we'll move on to the next slide, please. And then that is where we'll look at the roles of family and community in assisting us with what? With emotional self-care, with combination of therapy, of course. So if you can have all of this, three combined, man would be a wonderful, or will be building a wonderful society. So what role here does the therapy plays? I'm still echoing in that as well. It encourages open communication. Like I have explained before, that you here, you sit, you talk, we don't judge, we allow you, we give you space to do that with utmost respect to your principles, to your values, to your beliefs as well. We sit, we talk, we understand where you're coming from, and then we see how can we best help you. So also it reduces stigma around mental health and encourages professional help. So therapy normalizes talking. about mental health. So in most cases, as young people, we put stigma on people that struggle with mental health. Yes, indeed, we still have people like that, and it is very sad that we still have such people that put stigma in that. But with therapy, we don't put stigma. So we like I said before, we respect each other and we respect your beliefs, we respect whatever that you're going through. No problem is small. We just sit, we navigate through problems and issues and presenting issues as well, and then we see what would be the best coping mechanisms so that we can have the best outcomes as well. And also, families offer emotional support and encouragement. So, family support helps individuals feel understood, valued, and less alone in their struggles. So, if we can come as a community, family members, if we can come together and try to understand one another instead of judging each other, we would be rich, not in money, but would be rich emotionally, would be rich in Ubuntu as well. If Ubuntu could also come back, maybe in our society, that would help a lot in fighting mental health as well. Empathy, if we could exercise empathy towards each other when it comes to mental health, also I think would go a long way as the community. And also, like I said, the collaboration between therapy, family, and community, it would make us the most healthiest society ever. So how do we do that? Also, like we did today, having presentations like this, having campaigns, reach out programs that we're doing. If we can do more of that, because I've seen and that most of us or most of our people, they're not well informed when it comes to mental health. Maybe if we could do more of this, and also we join in this, in understanding mental health and how do we best take care of our emotional and our psychological self-care as well, that will be of great importance. So I wish we could just hold each other and build our communities, family members, community. Let's come together and let's do and let's heal. Let's heal our society, and then we'll further move on how do we now maintain this emotional and self-care that we've been talking about. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So now, how do we maintain emotional and psychological self-care? All right. You maintain it by prioritizing self-care every day. So how do we do that? All right. You make time for activities that nourishes your mind, body, and soul. Prioritize self-care every day. How do we do that? Make time for activities that nourishes your mind, your body, your soul. So now that's an I. So you need to now prioritize yourself. Do things that makes you happy. Take time out. Feed your body. Reward your body. Let's say you wrote an exam and you feel like, oh my gosh, yes, I did well. Why not reward yourself with whatever that you like? How's about an ice cream? How's about a shake? You're rewarding that body that has been working so hard to get that mark or to get through that exam that you were doing. And then your soul as well. You meditate, you pray. That's how you prioritize your self-care every day. And then number two, by building strong support networks. All right. And then how do we do that? You surround yourself with people who uplift you, stand and support you. So you don't surround yourself with people with negative energy. No, we don't do that. No, people that uplift you. So how do we do that? How do we now Have circles of friends that uplift us. Do you know how we can determine that? By asking yourself this, so and so, what value does that person add in my life? And that will tell you the people that you need in your life and the people that you don't need in your life. And that also helps with boundaries. That's how you also implement boundaries. Look at the value that they add in your life. If you're the only one who's always reaching out to them, but nobody takes time to actually just pick up a call and say, how are you doing today? Then you know that that person doesn't deserve to be in your life. So therefore, you need to distance yourself from such people. Surround yourself with people with good energy, with positivity, people that encourages you, people that you're in the same wavelength with. So those are the people that you need to surround yourself with. That's how you maintain now emotional and psychological self-care. Number 3, setting healthy boundaries. I've echoed that a lot. It is okay to say no, guys. And there's so many ways to say no without saying no. Also, we need to be smart. Use your words. Play with your words around. I'm afraid I can't. Unfortunately, that's you saying no. That's you drawing a boundary without being disrespectful, without changing who you are or changing your personality as well. But you setting boundaries because you understand that if you don't set boundaries, people tend to take advantage of you. And then that leaves you with an empty cup where there's nobody that is pouring into your cup. And that's where you find your stress, your headache, disturbed sleep as well, and fatigue, all of those somatic stress or somatic symptoms as well. So we need to say no, we need to create boundaries. So we further look at number 4, maintaining healthy lifestyle. We need to be very mindful of what we eat. It is very important to have a healthy meal. And then you stay active. Get enough sleep. Oh my God, guys, we understand that most of us, we're studying, we have deadlines to meet, we have this, we have that, but sleep is important because if you do not sleep, you are not going to be productive. You studying straight 5 hours is not going to help you because your mind is tired. Remember, we spoke about mind and body connection. Your mind is tired. It's not going to work for you. So we need to take care of our minds so that our minds also take care of us. Same with our bodies as well. We need to take care of our bodies so that our bodies will be able to carry us for the next 30, 40 years. So that we don't have all of these illnesses, your depression, your anxiety as well. If we apply emotional and self-care, we wouldn't struggle with those. And then number 5, being patient with self during difficult periods. Guys, it is okay to fail. That is how we learn. That is how we grow and evolve as human beings. Just take a lesson from it. Okay, what is it that I did wrong there? Okay, sharp. So next time, this is what I need to do. And if you are struggling, go to the next person for a different perspective. Don't do things alone. You are not alone. People are here to help you. Your loved ones are there to help you, but you just need to communicate with them. And then the last one is seeking professional help early when needed. Don't sit on top of the problem. You see that you're struggling with this, you're like, no, man. You push it back, you push it to the subconscious. No, man, and so you want to know, man, is over right. You want this attitude. It never worked, guys. I wish you could just realize that this order attitude will never work, but instead it is killing us. Okay? So we need help. We need people. No man is an island. So professionals are there to assist you. The people that you are closest to, talk to them. They will be able to assist you. You need a different perspective. Don't want to do things alone. And then, thank you so much. I think I'll conclude here. So in closing, as I wrap it up, I just need you guys to understand and know that emotional and psychological self-care is important for our mental well-being and resilience. You don't have to do everything alone. You are not alone. You are worthy and you are worth it. You are loved. You are special. You are appreciated. Be kind to self and take care to self. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Back to you, colleague. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Doc. That was very eye-opening. I did say that we will get practical tools. This is not taking care of your mental health is not expensive. These are the tools that I was talking about. Use them. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And listen, saying no is okay. Learn to say no. I have that problem. Have you ever felt when someone is talking and you feel like, hey, does this person knows my business? That is how at some point I was like, she knows my business. But thank you so much, Doc. And do listen, do note that the tongue is a very powerful weapon. It can either break or build. So what I will say to you guys is learn, not learn, but make it a habit to say a few positive things about yourself in the morning, in the mirror. You're beautiful. You're smart. You're capable. You can do it. That mindset. Let's leave it there. Let me go previously to what I that we do have a poet in the house, and this needs me to calm down. Let me say it again. Some voices rush you, but Naledi Rama's voice holds you. She writes the kind of poetry that feels like a deep breath and it stays with you. This piece is pre recorded for better sound quality, but she's also with us this evening. So let's welcome Unaledi Ramara. Thank you.
He's taken over my space. See, every time I try to pick up my pen, he appears again and again, and so I find myself digging up the words that I had buried deep inside of me. I miss the old me. I used to smile without thinking and laugh without breaking inside. I miss the version of me who didn't have to try so hard to seem okay. See, I know you've cried enough tears to fill rivers nobody admired. I know you've sat in rooms so full yet somehow still felt so alone. I know you have searched for love while trying to feel at home, but hear me. Every storm has a turning point. Every dark night must eventually meet morning, and every road that feels endless must eventually bend toward hope. And sometimes, your turning point is not the moment life becomes perfect. It is the very moment you decide not to give up on yourself. One day, someday, you'll discover that the storms didn't come to stay. They came to water the seeds that will blossom another day. Check yourself. You're still standing. You're still breathing. You're still here, you see? Broken crayons still color. You are proof that a cracked heart can still create beauty. You are proof that even after the rain, the sun still remembers your name. You are not the sadness that visited your mind. You are the fighter that sadness couldn't bind. Dear you, yes, you. And when the weight feels heavy and when anxiety knocks at your door again, remember this, that even the strongest trees once bent in the wind, even the brightest stars have survived the darkest skies, and every life and every heart and every soul deserves a turning point. And you look at your scars and realize they were never signs of weakness. In fact, they were proof you survived the night. So, to future you, the best chapters haven't been read, and the colors inside of you still haven't faded away, because broken crayons still color, and so will you.
I wipe my eyes. And this poem was written, was directed to me. Yeah. Oh, please give it up for, why am I saying please give it up? But yes, wherever you are, please give it up for our poet, Usisna Lady Ramara. Thank you so much. We do see Uguti, there was a bit of a glitch towards the end, and in the beginning, the video did not start in the beginning. We note that, and all I will say is, but you heard that it's just too good, too good. You can still watch it again. You can still listen to it again because this is not the last seminar or webinar. This is not the last series. There's still another one next week on Friday. Time is against us, so we will now move to coping mechanisms. I did say that today you will not just leave with motivations or practical tools that you will use in your everyday life and you will even share. Um, yes. So give me a moment. So stress, as I said that stress, problems and challenges will always be there, unfortunately. But our expert, our registered counselor at Turning Point Mental Health Services will share the coping mechanisms for everyday challenges that we can use. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Swazi. Coping mechanisms and why are they important? Good evening, everyone. I'm Idesha, and we'll be looking at coping mechanisms for everyday challenges. Coping mechanisms isn't something you are born with. It is something we learn from those around us. When we start incorporating healthy coping mechanisms into our everyday lives from a young age, we grow into more resilient adults who are better able to deal with life's ups and downs. Can I have the next slide, please, James? The next slide, please. One might ask, what does a resilient adult look like? Well, someone could say they can adapt to adversity, overcome difficulties, find ways to heal, maintain psychological well being, and continue to move forward. The next slide, please. Coping strategies can be broken up into two parts: adaptive and maladaptive coping mechanisms. Adaptive coping mechanisms are healthy, constructive skills and techniques that help us to deal with everyday stresses and difficulties we are facing. These skills build long term resilience. It can be as simple as meditation or self care. Cognitive reframing, which is basically a psychological technique used to identify and challenge negative or distorted thought patterns. Whereas maladaptive coping mechanisms are unhealthy or avoidant based behaviors that might provide temporary relief from discomfort but perpetuate long term problems. These can be substance use, constant negative thoughts, or even procrastination. I know we've already spoken a lot about procrastination. Can just the previous slide, please? I know we've already spoken a lot about procrastination, but let's take a moment to think, why do we get into the state of procrastination? Is it because we're feeling overwhelmed? Are we unsure of ourselves? Are we too anxious? Are we afraid of failure? Or the task ahead of us is just so daunting? Remember, even the best of us procrastinate. Even some perfectionists are procrastinators because psychologically it is safer to avoid a task rather than risk doing it poorly. The next slide, please. I'm sure many of you have already heard the term prevention is better than cure. Coping mechanisms are skills and techniques we use to manage our feelings, emotions, and stress. By practicing coping skills, it will become a habit and you are more likely to use them without even realizing it. One size, there is no one size that fits all mold. Every coping strategy is not going to work for everyone. Therefore, it is important to practice many different coping skills to find what works best for you. Can we have the next slide, please? Here are some ideas of coping strategies. We can categorize them into cognitive, emotional, and physical. Cognitive is just an umbrella term used for mental processes. Positive reframing, evaluating a problem from a positive angle, changing a negative thought into a positive thought. Let's take a moment to consider the scenario. You send a text message to your friend. Hours go by without a reply. Now your thoughts start running away with you. And you might think, am I being ignored? You might even check when your friend was last active online or question whether your friend is annoyed with you. But if we reframe, what we are doing is taking a pause, we're checking our facts, and we're exploring other explanations. It could be that your friend just forgot their phone at home, or the phone is on silent, or they're busy. It could be as simple as that. However, someone might have negative thoughts that they cannot push aside. And we call these intrusive thoughts that can pop up at any time. And it's not so easy to reframe them. So let's use this metaphor. Why don't we treat our intrusive thoughts exactly like annoying pop up ads or spam call notifications that appear on our cell phones? You don't have to click on the ad. You don't need to get angry about it. Acknowledge that it's there. You can just let it sit there and carry on scrolling. Remember, you don't need to react to every thought you have. You can choose to stay focused and you don't have to let the thought control you. Mindfulness and grounding. This is anchoring oneself in your present moment, taking in one's surroundings, paying attention to what you see, hear, feel, touch, and taste. Your emotional, that's your social support. Speaking to somebody that you trust, and I know for many of you that could be a friend, and that's okay. But remember, your friend might have as much life experience as you do. So maybe they might not be able to give you the advice that you need. So seeking advice from a trusted adult or a mental health professional is better to give you the guidance and support that you may need. Creative outlet. This could be listening to music, painting, or coloring. Journaling is an excellent way to make sense of the many thoughts and emotions you are experiencing. Putting everything down on paper can help you gain clarity and perspective. Spiritual and religious, turning to one's faith and looking at prayer for guidance. Moving on to our physical exercise, it can be as some, sorry, yes, thank you. So, exercise, it can be as simple as taking a Pilates class, taking a walk in nature, running, or doing high intensity workouts to calm the mind. Yoga and meditation helps keep the mind centered and focuses on breath work, rest, and routine. Prioritizing sleep, develop healthy eating patterns, living a balanced life. As much as we don't like to admit it, human beings function better when we have structure and routine. The brain programs itself to know what to expect, which keeps it in a state of calm. The next slide, please. Hugging your pet. The physical closeness releases feel good brain chemicals like your oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin. while simultaneously lowering stress hormones like cortisol. CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, shows us that thoughts, behaviors, and emotions are interrelated and they all affect one another. Dialect DBT, your dialectal behavioral therapy, focuses on emotional regulation and tolerating distress without acting impulsively. Next slide, please. We live in a digital age with information literally at our fingertips. It is imperative to caution you all on relying and seeking advice from AI tools. Even though you might type out in detail what problem you are facing, these chatbots tend to pull out threads of what you are saying and provide feedback that is not necessarily in your best interest. Advice from these platforms will not give you the adequate guidance and support that you may need. So please seek advice from a qualified mental health professional. The next slide, please. If you can indulge me just for a minute, we're going to do a quick mindfulness and grounding exercise. You don't have to say anything out aloud. What I want you to do is sit back in your chair, relax, take in a deep breath, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, and out. Now, I want you to pay attention to your surroundings. Look for 5 blue things around you. What are 4 things that you can touch? What are 3 things you can hear? What are 2 things you can smell? And what is 1 thing you can taste? Remember, it is never too late to start developing healthy coping skills. Life will always have challenges. Stress is normal. Feeling overwhelmed sometimes is normal. The goal is not to avoid challenges, it's to learn how to handle them. Every time you use a healthy coping skill, you are building resilience, confidence, and strength for the future. My last slide, please. Thank you. And remember, you can always turn to Turning Point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edisha. Now, I'm sure everyone, they have a lot of questions. I'm sure everyone has questions. This is the time now to ask your questions on the chat box, or you can also raise your hand over here. And one of our practitioners, they will be attending and assisting you in answering the questions that you have. I did tell you in the beginning, write those questions, keep them. And if you didn't, just so me, I did. But this platform is yours now. So you can go ahead, right, on the chat box, or you can just raise your hand, and one of our practitioners, they'll be taking turns to answering the questions that you have. Or you can also unmute yourself, and then we will follow in that sequence. Please note, because of time, we will quickly wrap this up.
There was a question in the chat box. It was from Lindelwa Mshongo, and she was asking if we can share the slides. Lindelwa, thank you so much for your question. We have streamed this webinar on YouTube, so you are most welcome to always go back to YouTube and refer to the webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Doc. Let me give you another 2 minutes to check if anyone has questions. And if you are nervous to say a question over here, please feel welcome to write to us on our WhatsApp uh, a question there, and we will attend to one of our practitioners will attend to it next week. So just to save time, I'll open the floor for another minute or two. Our WhatsApp number, though, if you do not have it, it is 063 775 5123. I repeat again, our WhatsApp number is 063 775 5123. Another minute. We have a question in the chat box. May I please ask one of our practitioners to answer our viewer?
If you can please help us, Swazi, to read the question.
Okay, we have Jan over here. She is saying, how do I tell whether I am undergoing normal stress or it is something that needs attention and therapy? Thank you, Jan, for your question.
Thank you so Thank you so much for that question, Jan. So, basically, what is stress? Stress is an event basically that is happening and it makes you feel overwhelmed. It poses a challenge either to your mental or emotional response by making you feel that you are not able to handle it. So, how do you even identify if it is positive or negative stress? You must look at how you respond to it. One, positive stress are those events which will actually energize you and encourage you to do your best in order to meet up with the expectations of that situation. For example, if you have a test, you have an exam, in order to avoid failing, then you might say, let me rather study more and let me prepare myself well in advance so that I can obtain good marks. So, when it becomes negative, rather, it's when you identify that it saps away at your energy levels. It actually makes you feel demotivated. The speakers have already alluded to the fact that some may find themselves procrastinating a lot. So, basically, that is paralysis, whereby maybe due to anxiety, one might feel numb and emotionally and mentally they are not able to process the next step of action. So negative stress actually saps away your energy. It kind of makes you feel demotivated to even try. One of our speakers also spoke about learned helplessness, where because of these thoughts that you are having, the unhelpful thinking patterns, you have already made a self fulfilling prophecy where you are catastrophizing the future. You are thinking, oh, well, I will fail, so I might as well not study. Then what do you do when you are experiencing that reaction where you have paralysis, where you are feeling anxious, distress? Then I think our speakers have alluded to the fact that reach out, speak to someone, identify one person in your life that can actually help you to process these emotions. If you are not able to speak to someone, you can start journaling so that you identify what are these thoughts that are actually increasing the emotional state of maybe feeling overwhelmed, feeling anxious, and therefore demotivated. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chief, for that answer. I'm looking at other comments on the chat box. Please do note, viewers, this was our first of many webinars to come. So we do take note of all the little bit glitches there and there that we experienced. Example, I will say thank you for participating on the chat box. I see Uslengiwe on the activity that Usamgelo did. She wrote rose. There was a rose, a thorn, and a bud. Slengiwe wrote a rose, obtained my diploma, thorn, looking for a job is draining. And then on the bad side, he or she said, I'm still hopeful that I will get one. Other viewers over here, also, we see that others are from Pietermaritzburg, Dundee. We appreciate everyone. This is the point where we conclude the Q&A session. Again, feel free to WhatsApp us if you have any more questions. They will be answered on our second part of the webinar. Um, We've come to the end, but definitely not the last part. So may I please welcome back again our chief, Mrs. Mthembu Mensah, as she will be introducing the next webinar that we have.
Thank you so much. I would like to really express my deepest gratitude. And as Turning Point Mental Health Services, we are so thankful for you for joining us. And as we have launched this first youth webinar, our deepest gratitude goes to our esteemed speakers who have shared important insights. Your words of wisdom were truly inspiring and gave us all a lot to think about. To all our lovely audience, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be with us. For our next webinar, please invite parents, guardians, and teachers. As I indicated earlier in my welcoming speech, we need adults that will be able to have emotional attunement skills. That is, the ability to recognize, understand, and respond appropriately to their youth so that we can build stable home environments, school environments, and societies so that we help them to navigate their lives, right? So look out on our social media pages. The date for our next webinar is on the 26th of June. It will also be taking place at 5 o'clock. And our guest speakers will include Zagiti Shezi. She is a social worker in private practice located in Richards Bay, as well as Nomalizwi, who is an educator, businesswoman, and mentor. We will hear insights as well from our clinical psychologists, counseling psychologists, and educational psychologists from Turning Point Mental Health Services. We will also have a voice. It is important that we give parents a voice, a platform to raise their concerns or their difficulties. It is also important that we give our young ones a chance, a platform to also express themselves. So hopefully we will see you then. In the chat box, I also noticed someone, I'm just trying to open it quickly, asking a question regarding trust. I can't open my chat box right now, but if I can paraphrase, she said, I don't trust anyone. How do I tell with okay, yes, I don't trust anyone. I always shut down and prefer to be alone. All right. I think this is Ntombize Tumalo. There is another one who said, how do I share if I don't trust anyone around me? And I cannot afford therapy. Yes, I saw a comment like that. So remember, like we said, journaling helps just to process those emotions, but good enough, you do need someone to share with professionally. And I have good news on that. We will be making an announcement on the 26th of June, which will address these two questions about trust. If you don't trust anyone around you, obviously that might be due to complex trauma, when you are emotionally hurt and you have been disappointed by loved ones, and therefore you are treading carefully, always scanning for danger around the loved ones, then you are not in a position to trust them and share with them. However, Turning Point is coming to that aid. We will be launching a special project which will address these issues which pertain to financial constraints. So watch out our social media pages, and see you on the 26th of June. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mbali. Thank you so much, Chief. I'd like to thank everyone online for joining. You could have taken your time to do other things, travel, as it is a long weekend for many, but you decided to join us. We also acknowledge our viewers on our Facebook page. On our Facebook page, we see over 663 have joined. We see you there, and we acknowledge you, and thank you so much for joining on our YouTube as well. Please do join. We will be on the lookout on our Facebook page. It's Turning Points Mental Health Services, as well as on Instagram and our WhatsApp status. We will take out the details for the next webinar, which will be on the 26th. Let me close it off and say it was an honor to be your MC. A huge appreciation to our practitioners and their beautiful presentations. A huge shout out to the team behind the scenes that made this day possible, and Turning Point Mental Health Services. Thank you for joining, and definitely hoping to see you again next week, Friday. Have a good evening. Listen, all the questions, everything that you wrote on the chat box, it is noted and it will be answered next week. From me, Uswazi Intombi Yagamvelase, I am signing out. See you next week. Bye.